Hey there, welcome back to By His Grace Marriage Ministry Podcast. My name's Amanda. Shalom, and welcome to part 2 of this topic. I actually didn't know I was going to do a part 2 until I published the first one, and Yahoo was like, "Oh, you need to share these details as well, because this is really vital. This is really important." In the description to the part 1, I just put, very, very vital for those who are still in counterfeit situations or counterfeit relationships. Take heed before it's too late. And the reason why I'm using those words, I know those are like serious words, is because, and listen, I feel like all of these warnings have all been connecting to one another. I feel like, or not what I feel like, what he's saying is that time is running out. Okay, for those of you that are still in counterfeit situations that he has been revealing to you over time, this is a counterfeit situation, you need to get out of it, this is not of me, I have different for you, this and that. Like, he's been showing you. Okay, for some of you it has to do with relationships, for some of you it might have to do with your job or your career, for some of you it could be, it could be different things. For some of you, it could be all above. That's why I put counterfeit lifestyle / relationship / situationship, because it could be any of these. Okay, you'll know it's for you and what it's referring to you, because the Ruach will minister to you. Okay, so in part 1, I was talking about how I was having a conversation with somebody today that reached out to me for counsel. We talked for quite some time, and they actually asked me to actually share this, not share their situation specifically, but in general. And you know what? I agree. I think it's really important. I think this really connects with a lot of the warnings that the Ruach has been giving me lately, and they've been specific messages for specific people, but they all tie in. Okay. So the reason why there's a part 2 was because there were some things that I wanted to add. I ran out of time in the first episode, not the first episode, the part 1. And so I wanted to come back and share it because it is really vital. There's more things in detail that I want to share. Now, the first thing that I'm going to say is it ties in with something I had shared not too long ago, I think a few weeks ago, maybe a month. And hang on, I'm just looking through here to give me just one moment. I'm sorry. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So I had shared a while back about social media, and that there was someone, and I don't know if it's one person or if there's actually a few people that are doing this. One of the things that I don't like about social media, and again, the only reason why I have it is for my ministry and just to connect and have fellowship. And this is something I'm praying about, because I may be getting rid of Facebook altogether. I don't know yet. I might get rid of it. I'm not sure yet. I feel like every time I've wanted to do that in the past, he's like, nope, you need to stay on for X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to, but okay. But I really would like to get rid of social media altogether. There's more negative than there are positive. And, the thing with social media is that a lot of people can make their life seem, one way, and it's really not. And I actually had talked about that there was somebody, and again, this could be quite a few people, but they are in a counterfeit situation, and I don't know details. I don't know why it's happening this way. I don't know if it's the counterfeit person. I don't know what's going on, but from what I could gather, this person made an agreement with the counterfeit person to pretty much tell everybody in their lives that they really were together, that they really are married, right? And they're basically, what this person in this counterfeit is doing, or are doing, sorry, I'm not speaking proper English, is they are making it seem on social media and maybe even in their actual lives that everything's great, everything's wonderful, they're really together, this, that, and the next thing, and they're not. Or they've been on and off. I don't know. I don't know if they're doing it because there might be a child or children involved. I don't know if it's because of what other people are saying, friends and family. I don't know. All I know is I had shared that this was not a good thing and that they needed to get out of this as soon as possible. They needed to tell people the truth and get out of it. Listen, brothers and sisters, if you're at a point where you feel it's easier to tell people a lie and, to make it seem this way because that's what the people want to hear, that's not good. Okay? Or because it's easier for you. Listen, not good. Okay? It is not good. Number one, you're opening the door to the enemy. Number two, you're not being honest with people. And then when that time comes that you do need to get out of this, what's going to happen? And for some of you, like I said in part one, that could be one of the reasons why you're having a hard time breaking out of this counterfeit relationship or situationship or lifestyle, depending on what it is. And that's just not good. It's not, for so many reasons. Social media, the issue with social media is that people can be who they want to be. They can pretend, they can masquerade, right? They could put pictures, that they're happy and they're just so in love with this person and this and that and the next thing. I think in one episode I was talking about the issue with jealousy and how it can really do more harm than good, because jealousy in a very small way can be healthy because it's just showing that you love the person. However, if you're doing it for wrong reasons or it's just overboard, it's a very unhealthy, dangerous thing, and it's a spirit. Okay. But I think I had talked about, like, if you are on social media and your person's on social media too, and you're trying to make them jealous by posting pictures and making it look like you're having the time of your life and you're just so in love with this person, which is the counterfeit, right? Please don't do that. That is not only is it childish, it's the worst thing that you can do. You're just going to make things worse, right? The other issue too with social media is that people will put on their pages that they're with this person, they're not, or they actually are. They put that they're married. Another thing that I've seen, and women, the counterfeit women are doing this. They're taking their last names, okay? So they're not married, right? They're not even married in Babylon, okay? But what they're doing is to keep up this facade that they've given everybody. They are, the woman will change her last name to his, okay? And, it's just like, the only way that I can put it is it's such a hole that you've dug yourself in, basically. Because then how do you undo all of that when you've come to the realization that you are not in Yahuwah's will for your life? This is a counterfeit situation. It's toxic. It's all of these things. Now, how are you going to undo all of that? Right? And so some people are finding themselves in these situations where now they've come to the realization, right? They've been miserable and unhappy for years, but they just figured that's life. That's just how it is. You've come to Yahuwah, you've turned to him, you've come to the realization, right? He's revealed to you, you're growing closer to him, because that's what it's all about. That's the first thing, is that you are growing in your relationship with Yahuwah, and because you are, he's showing you, hey, this isn't for me. Hey, that's not what I had for you. Many of us are starting our lives over. Many of us are coming out of the dark and into light. Many of us are coming out of deception and into truth. Many of us are coming out of sin, right, into righteousness. Many of us are starting over, okay? Because let's face it, I'm just going to be real with you, brothers and sisters. You cannot have the things of Yah if you are in the things of the world and in the things of the enemy, period. That means a relationship. That means everything, okay? That is not from him. And many of us have come to that realization or are coming to that realization. So now, concerning counterfeit relationships, some of you are like, how do I undo all of this? How do I tell this person? What do I do because we've had 2 kids? What do I tell my family? What do I tell my friends? What do I do on social media because I've painted this picture that we're happy together and that we have this beautiful life together and family and all of this? How do you undo all of that? And in part one, I was talking about some of the issues, right? What people face. Now, the person I was talking to today, their issue was, I don't want to hurt this person. They're still a good person. I understand that. I don't know how to tell this person about hurting them. Well, you know what? There's going to be heartbreak, period. Because, like I said, when you're in sin, here's the thing about counterfeit relationships, brothers and sisters, that we have to remember. A counterfeit relationship is an adulterous relationship. Why? I'll tell you why. Even if you're married to this person, okay? I'm going to tell you why. Because number one, it's not your spouse, okay? And scripture clearly tells us that sex outside of a marriage, okay? Now, I know some of you might say, oh, but I was married to a person. Yeah, but you know what? It's not valid in Yahuwah's eyes. How do we know this? Because when we look in Mark, was it Mark? Where Yahusha tells his disciples, he says, whom Elohim has joined together, let no man separate. Okay, notice he doesn't say, and I know I'm repetitive with this, but it's important. Notice he doesn't say who you decided to be with, who your family thought you should be with, who friends hooked you up with, who you decided, your will. No, he clearly says, who Elohim has joined together, let no man separate. That's where the whole divorce and all that comes in, okay? When it's the spouse that he has called you to be with, this is where he hates divorce. And even divorce in a counterfeit marriage, it still leaves such a huge hurt, right? A huge negative impact, okay? But again, going back to why it's considered adultery. When you are with anybody other than your Yah-ordained spouse, okay, if you are a child of the Most High, if you are an unbeliever, this doesn't apply to you, okay? Because who you choose to marry is your spouse, period. That's it. But for those of you who are a believer, I don't care how close or far your relationship is, you're a believer, you know the scriptures, you know Yahuwah, you know God, okay? You know better. Now, and especially if you didn't marry this person legally in Babylon or in some man-made religion, and all you did was cohabit with this person on and off, it is a fornication relationship. It is an adulterous relationship, period. And listen, I am not here judging anybody. I did it, okay? I did it for a long time. Quick backstory. I met my son's father when I was 15 years old. He was 18. We fell in love, and then I ended up moving. We both went through a huge heartbreak. 4 years went by, brothers and sisters. 4 years went by. I moved back to the same place. We crossed paths, and I thought it was meant to be. And I wasn't even a believer, okay? I wasn't a believer until I was 26. When I came to meet him again, I think I was 20. And I thought it was love. I didn't know any better. We fell in love. We had a relationship. We cohabited on and off for a time and whatever. And then we had a child together. We never married under Babylon, and praise Yah, right? Because that would have been even more of an issue. But I'm sharing this with you because I'm not passing judgment, okay? I'm just telling you truth, okay? It's a sin. It's a sin I had to repent from and turn away from. So those of you that have been in counterfeit relationships, it's sin, period. You have to repent and turn away from it. And in order to turn away from it, you have to come out of that lifestyle. You have to come out of that relationship. You have to come out of that situationship, okay? For those of you who are like, what's situationship? I just learned this too. Situationship is apparently when you are involved with somebody, but you're not a couple, okay? You're involved with each other, connected because of the obligations the two of you have together or that you share or whatever, okay? Or maybe you have to live together because one or both of you have nowhere else to go. That's what I mean by situationship. Lifestyle, I say lifestyle because I don't know if it's a counterfeit job, if it's counterfeit ministry, if it's it could be anything that's in your life that is not of him, is not of Yahuwah. And then relationship, of course, is someone that you have been romantically involved with, okay? You have fornicated with this person. And then, of course, marriage, that falls under relationship, okay? So that's what I mean by that. So here's the thing, brothers and sisters. It is so important for those of you that are still involved, okay? You need to remove yourself from there, okay? Now, again, if you have a child or children with this person, you're always going to be connected with them through the kids, okay? However, that doesn't mean you have to continue to be with them. And I don't recommend it. And I explained why in part 1 and in my blending family episodes. You might have to take it to court, okay? If you're not already in court for these children for child support and custody, you might have to get to that point. But if you are that person that you have been living this lie and putting up a front with this whole thing and telling people, oh yeah, this is my wife, oh yeah, it's my husband, yeah, we're a family, yeah, we're together, we're this and that, and that's not at all what's going on. You know that this isn't the person that Yah has for you. Yes, you in a sense created a family with them, especially if you've had more than one child, but your family are those children, okay? Not that person. Okay, and I know that sounds kind of blunt, but it's the truth. And you know this person isn't for you. If Yahuwah has already revealed it, you know that this person is not for you. You knew a long time ago when things grew toxic, when things didn't work. Remember what I've said, brothers and sisters. Whenever you build anything on a foundation other than Yahuwah, it's going to fall apart eventually. Not only that, but when it is not from him, he's not obligated to bless it. So eventually it's going to fall apart. When it is from Yahuwah, it's blessed, it's protected. Nobody can touch it. No demon in hell, not Satan. Nobody can touch it. They'll try, but it's not going to happen because Yahuwah's hand is on it. When it is not from him, it's not that he doesn't care about you or that person or or the kids or anything, but it wasn't from him. He didn't tell you to go do it. For those of you who are parents that have older children, right, as they become teens, right? I have a teen, so I'm even though he's an amazing kid, he's such a good kid, but they have their moments, right? And we tell them, don't do this because if you do this, there's consequences. Okay, you tell them and tell them and tell them. You know how kids are. We did it too when we were kids. We don't really want to listen to our parents. Or maybe a friend was telling us, hey, no, do it. It's fine. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. Anyways, the child does it. Now they got to go through his consequences. What do we tell our kids? We told you not to do that because this would happen. That is how Yahuwah is with us. Remember, he's our father. He's our Abba. And he's like, I told you not to do that because of this. Or I didn't even tell you to do that, but you did it. You went ahead and did it anyways. So, he's not obligated to bless it. And he's not going to. Again, for those of us that are parents, would we willingly give something to our children that would harm them? Would we willingly let them do something or give something to them that we know would harm them? No, of course we wouldn't. We want to protect our children at all costs. I know I would walk to the ends of the earth for my children. It's the same with him. It's the same with Abba. He would never, ever give us something or put us in something that is going to harm us. Now, teach us a lesson? Yeah, probably. But going back to what I was saying about social media, okay? If you are someone that is utilizing social media for this purpose, or it's one of the purposes, you need to stop. Because you're doing more harm than good. You're doing damage. You need to come clean and you need to be honest. If you are somebody that is, playing house on social media, you're making your life look one way on social media and to other, people in your life, but that's not really what it is. That's not what Yah has for you. You need to change that. You need to fix that, okay? For some of you, that's your first step right there. The first step is realizing you're in a counterfeit situation, okay? The next step is removing yourself from whatever social media that you're doing. You need to, if you're living with the person, I said this in part 1, you need to move out. I understand you might tell me I don't have anywhere to go. I get that. Pray about it and see what Yah tells you. Okay? Like I said, you might have to stay in your car for a little bit, start looking for apartments, start making moves. Ask family, ask friends, listen, I need a place to stay for a little bit until I get back on my feet. Some might have to go to a shelter. You might have to sacrifice. But let me tell you something, it's better doing that than staying and living with that person because you're living in sin with that person. I'm going to be frank. You need to get out of that sin. Living with someone who is not your spouse, okay, unless you guys are, how do you say that, platonic? Unless you guys aren't actually doing anything. And even then, I wouldn't recommend it, okay? But especially if you're still fornicating with this person, I just talked about this too. This was another warning. There's somebody that is every now and then is fornicating with this person. And I don't know if that person is living with the person or not. I don't know. But if you are living with the counterfeit person, you need to move out. Don't use the excuse that you don't have anywhere to go. Get a hotel room, be in your car for a little bit, unless it's, very, very cold out where you're at. Shelter, reach out to a family or friend. Maybe if you are fortunate enough, maybe you have a trailer or camper or something, live in that. I don't know, do what you got to do. If you have a job or career and you're like, I need to stay close by, listen, pray about it. If Yahuwah sees that you're trying to get out of sin, you're trying to get out of these counterfeit situations, he will help you and make a way. But I'm telling you right now, that's the next step. If you're living with a person, you need to move out. It's not right. Even if you all have had kids and y'all are, living like you're a family or something. Listen, I've even heard situations. I don't know this. I get it though. I do get it. But I've heard all kinds of things. Unique situations. But I give props to that person because at least they weren't living with the counterfeit. But I've heard of people living in the same neighborhood as them to be close to their kids, or same property. Some people share property. And I get that. I get that, and I respect that at least they're not trying to cross that boundary. But I wouldn't recommend being that close either if you can help it, okay? I understand wanting to be close to your children. I get it. But be really careful about that, okay? But you need to make that step and move out, okay? If you're still living with the counterfeit person. Because remember, if this counterfeit person too, if they're still wanting to be with you, even though you're not wanting to be with them, because you've come to realization, you've woken up, I should not be with this person, they may not see that. Or they may be toxic to the point that they want to keep you anyways for selfish reasons or whatever, or I don't know. So be careful, okay? Because especially if you've had, like I said in part 1, if you've had children with them, they could use the children as pawns. If they could, you talk to them, hey, I'm leaving, and then all of a sudden they pull, they start crying, they start, to pull your heartstrings, things like that. Listen, be prepared for that because it could happen, okay? Which brings me to the next thing, which is what the person I was talking to was saying. I don't know how to break it to them. You just got to do it, and do it honestly. We can't avoid breaking somebody's heart. It's going to happen. We don't mean to do it, but it's the only way that you're going to break free from it. Just do everything respectfully, do everything honestly, handle everything, the best way possible. Like I said, there's kids involved. As much as I despise Babylonian systems, you might have to put it into court. And I understand that's really hard. You never know how it's going to go. It costs money. I understand. But remember, Yahuwah is with you. Okay? And if you are somebody that is, telling everybody, this lie about your life, you need to come clean about that. Yahuwah cannot bless you with the life he does have for you if you keep living in a fake life or in a life that you've made up that has nothing to do with him. And if you have kids involved, you need to sit down with them and be honest with them too, whoever you need to tell, you need to be honest with them. Because while you keep living in that life, guess what? You're going to stay in that bondage. You're going to stay in that. Yahuwah is not going to be able to bring you into the life he has for you and the purpose and the calling he has for you. He can't. It's like I said, you can't have one foot in with the world and one foot in with him. It's all or nothing. And I understand it's scary. I understand it's a lot. It's a lot to think. It's a lot to deal with. I get it. But you know what? Once again, it's the consequences and the outcome that we have to deal with for our choices and our actions. But at least you're getting the grace, you're getting that second chance. But the warning is, if you don't do it when he's telling you and how he's telling you, you're going to miss out. You can miss out and lose what he's trying to bring into your life. If you continue to be in the counterfeit, you're not going to be in the real thing. You can't have both. And for some of you, time is running out. And that's where all these warnings connect. And I don't know who this is for, and it could just be for one person. It could be for more than one person. It could be for a multitude of you, a group of you. I don't know. But for some of you, Abba is saying, time is running out. And if you are a person stuck in a counterfeit situation, you need to pray. You need to go to him and seek. Find out what it is he wants you to do. What are the steps you need to take? Because it's going to be different for everybody, because everybody's in different situations, right? When it comes to this counterfeit. And remember, he is infinite in his wisdom. He knows beginning and end and beginning. He has the answers for you. You need to seek him, though, and listen to what he's telling you to do, no matter how hard it seems. You're going to have to go through it. You're going to have to sacrifice for a little bit. You might have to suffer for a little bit, but you got to do it. I have sacrificed. I have suffered like you would not believe. Trials. Remember, I was talking about that on the Sabbath, enduring trials. Look at King David, love Yahuwah with everything. And Yahuwah anointed him and gave him such a huge purpose. And yet David fell and committed some pretty major sins. And even though Yahuwah forgave him and still used him in a major way, David still had to deal with those consequences of those sins, of the choices he made. But at least there's grace, there's forgiveness, and we get a second chance. But for some of you, you're going to miss out on that second chance if you don't do what needs to be done to get out of this counterfeit situation or relationship or lifestyle. That is what he is saying tonight, brothers and sisters. For those of you that are still stuck in a counterfeit situation. And the thing is, you know this is a counterfeit situation. You've known for some time, or maybe you just found out. The thing is, he's revealed it to you. You know. But there's fear, or there's confusion, or because of the situation and how it is, you don't know how to go about it. And listen, we know that fear and confusion is not of him. You need to rebuke that. That's the enemy. And then once you've done that, you need to go to Elohim, go to Yahuwah, and say, how do I get out of this? How do I do this? Have mercy on me. Please forgive me. How do I get out of this? And he will reveal it to you, and he will help you. Does that mean you're not going to, go through changes and you might have to suffer for a little bit, or you might have to, no. I mean, it's going to happen. There's no avoiding that. But it doesn't mean that there isn't blessings on the other side of it. Of course there is. And for some of you, the issue is you don't want to face that. You don't want to face the changes you have to go through, because you're comfortable in what you're in, and that's not good. When you're comfortable in sin, when you're comfortable in counterfeit lifestyle, that's not good. That's not good, brothers and sisters. Not at all. I would rather be uncomfortable and out of sin than comfortable and in sin. And this keeps coming to me, but whoever's doing this thing about pretending and this whole thing with social media and stuff, you got to cut that out too. You got to cut that out. That's why I don't like social media, because social media just gives too many opportunities for people to do those kinds of things. It's just not good. For some of you, social media is going to be the way you're going to connect with your Yahweh spouses and things like that. Yah can use these things. He can use anything. So I'm not saying completely quit social media if he's not telling you to, but for those of you that are using it in the wrong ways, you need to stop doing that. It's not good. It's not good. And for some of you, if you are connecting with your Yahweh spouse through social media and they're seeing that, what are they going to think? I mean, come on. So, but anyways, brothers and sisters, that is the word. I have to get going now. Please, questions or concerns, email me, okay? I love you all. Thank you so much for listening, and I will talk with you in my next episode.